I need to shout out Couture by Sharee. Hold on, let me give her some hand claps and some gunshots. You can't hear that. It's all good though. Don't worry about it. Shout out to her. This woman is amazing. Happy Black History Month. She's amazing because I was looking for flowers, and I was thinking like, all right, it's Valentine's Day. All right, it's a made-up holiday. It's a BS holiday. Whatever. And so Sharee came by. She delivered me some flowers. You know what I'm saying? I had to pay her, and she delivered early on V-Day. And I was able to go surprise my wife. She supplied the flowers that's here on the table. I just have them here just because literally it was funny. Before you came, I was like, all right, I need to leave, go deliver these flowers, get back because I don't want my guests. You know, certain entrepreneurs that you interact with. Right. And you know they about their business. So you contacted me. You was hit me up. We was talking. I felt bad. We're going to get to the cancellation yesterday on my part. But I knew, I was like, my man is going to be here at 11. And you showed up at 10:59. You was ready. And I was like, I got to be back. But shout out to Sharee. One, because you're always amazing. Two, because you always have a good energy and spirit about you. It's something about working with entrepreneurs who have good spirit and good energy.
Yeah, it's positive.
Absolutely. And she always does that. And we will be hosting a networking event. I need to get the information. I'm going to share it at the end of this pod. But we are having a networking event. We just want entrepreneurs and just anybody with their business just going to come by. We're going to kick it. We want to talk about the power of networking, the power of collaborating with the right people, and just showing that it's good energy in this city, positive energy, as you just said. To know that we can work with each other because you're here. We're going to get to why you're really here, but you're here. You have expert knowledge in finances and building wealth and, just businesses, right? And it's something that if you could come here and share that knowledge, what you're here to do with our audience, our listeners, that's dope, right? Also, if you come to me and say, hey, Gavin, I'm doing such and such. I need a photographer. I'm hosting an event. I need a photographer to do some coverage for me. Or, hey, I'm doing this cool event. I know a person who's actually doing an event with my wife, and everybody that's getting invited to the event, they're hiring a photographer to come through and do headshots of everybody literally in the middle of this event. Okay. And it's super dope because last week I was doing headshots. You'd be surprised how many people LinkedIn picture is jacked up.
It really is. I'm still using one from an old job.
Oh, gosh.
They hooked me up.
Look, see, I have to talk about people. I might have went on your LinkedIn page. I didn't, though. But you on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
I'm going to look you up now. Yeah. I got to see how many connections you got.
I think it's like 800, 850.
Oh, you got me beat. I think I'm at like 299.
But I don't be just over there clicking. Like I gotta vet people because there's some scams on LinkedIn now. Like you can't go nowhere without somebody being in the inbox trying to show you the best opportunity.
This city is I think we're gonna talk about where you from. Y'all got good scammers. I mean, Atlanta got great scammers. Yeah. Charlotte is good because we let the scammers get off for about a good year and a half before we tell somebody. Yeah. And it's sad, right? It's like, all right. Yo, I know you got me, you got my homegirl, and I didn't tell my homegirl, even though whatever. And, okay, now you got my mom. It's cool. I'm going to let you get one more person, and then I'm going to have to expose you indirectly. So shout out to Charlotte Scammers. Y'all are amazing. I had a dude call me yesterday trying to sell me something, and then he texted me and was like, I have your girlfriend. But the grammar was jacked up. And I was just like, huh? And I called him back, and he was playing on the phone. I was just like, and he didn't sound like, I'm playing jokes. He sounded like he was missing a few marbles. And I was just like, blocked. And then, before then, he was asking for money. I was like, bro, get the hell off my phone. Anyway, I have a special guest. Let me tell you something. I love my guests. I have went through having bad guests. I went through having good guests. I went through having horrible guests. Before we get to this, you want to be a guest on the show and you do music, it's an automatic no. All right? I'm letting y'all know now. I don't want to hear you rap and sing then rap, play an instrument, none of that. You got to do that on another podcast. Please do not contact me. But I said something to you when we was DMing. I said, yo, do you think we can cater today's topic to entrepreneur? And you said, yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. And I love that. I love that energy. I love that. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you from.
So my name is Jonathan Thomas. I
give you some
have a
Go
good
ahead.
money conversation, and it's all about trying to gear you to build wealth. So I'm from St. Louis. I went to an HBCU, the only HBCU in St. Louis, Harrisville State University.
Okay.
Graduated from there, got my master's, been in Charlotte since like 2015, but I started my career in St. Louis. And one thing that I learned very quickly, it took a little bit trying to get that career off the ground, but I started working at the Bank of America in 2012, and I started, much like everybody else, I had a 500 credit score, no savings, had a great girlfriend who didn't have a 500 credit score and had savings. But I was inspired by her. Like, I'm like, how do people like have money? And so I was blessed because my first 90 days, I was focused on learning every aspect of the bank as far as how money works. And then second, I wanted to really figure out where my career was going to go, what I wanted to do, and I realized it was leadership. So I figured that out in the first 90 days.
90 days of like out of college or starting?
First 90 days of being at Bank of America.
Okay,
2012.
cool.
So that was the goal. So once I figured those two things out, I just started putting in, like I say, my reps. I had people coming in. I was a personal banker going through that leadership, all those different things. But I learned that I had several instances where, of course, it was a good branch as far as productivity, but it was in a lower income part of town. So you got a little bit of every walk of life. Entrepreneurs, people living on Social Security, people that may make like $40,000, $50,000 a year. But the things that stuck out for me was I really learned how to help people who only had, at that time, 2012, they were getting $1,500, $2,000 a month off Social Security, but I help them have the ability to save. And so when you have somebody that's making $24,000 a year, and then at the end of the year they have $5, $6, $7 grand, I realized, oh man, there's real potential in this. And obviously for the bank, that opened them up to expand the relationship, credit, all those different things. So I took that ability of me teaching people how to handle their finances. I realized, I could really be good at this if I teach my peers. And that's where the leadership piece came in, because I got really good at developing branches, developing team members to go out and do this work at Bank of America. And so I took that same skill set from Bank of America to Wells Fargo, and then credit union. And the credit union was where I started to understand the community aspect. So,
shout out to the credit union.
Yeah, I came into Charlotte. They helped me out, but credit unions, I really saw the value of how they're trying to help community, and I was pairing that with my social media at the time. You're getting older, you know what I mean? You're out of school, and so time starts to hit your peers. And and I'm reading their statuses, and I'm seeing the financial struggle, and I'm seeing that they don't quite understand it, and that's what made me go to open the Facebook group, have talks, and I just have been consistently, even though I've been still in the workforce at corporate, for almost a decade or over a decade now. I've been pushing the envelope of just trying to get the message out, because it's one of those things of there's a lot of details in how you manage your finances. And over my decade, I really don't appreciate that people don't understand the value that you can have in these financial institutions. Because, and I understand why, because the experience you've had there. You know what I mean? If you overdraft your account and they don't want to give you the fees back, you paid for me, you know what I mean, on that. Or I've been banking with you as a credit union for 2-3 years. I got my direct deposit here. I can't even get a loan from y'all. Well, there's a reason, and there's ways to get those products. There's ways to build your skills, so they're offering them to you and you're not asking. And so that's the point of, if you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to typically put things in place that's going to help you scale or give you the ability to scale. And there's no greater place as far as the U.S. that's going to help you. Not your mama, not your friends. You know how customers are when you try to be a business, a African-American business. They want the discount, so they're not really going to help you. So who's going to be there to help you is the financial institution. And what you're trying to do is, much like your career, you're trying to build yourself to where, one person gave you the opportunity, but everybody else is begging for you to do the business with them.
Absolutely.
And that's what you need.
You know what's funny is you brung in you had a girlfriend at that time. Whatever happened to her?
We got married.
Okay, cool. So it's your wife. Just
Yeah.
I jumped out on the limb there. I was hoping.
Yeah.
But it's funny of what a good woman would do for you when you when you figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
She'd like speed up everything, right? So I told you off mic about how I didn't even have a girlfriend when I was buying my home, right? But my wife now was my homegirl, right? And so I remember I walked into this crib and I was just like, they showed me one of the houses in the neighborhood and it was a 3-bedroom crib with a loft. And I was like, yo, I could put my game here, put a TV here.
Right.
And then they showed me the 4-bedroom home and I chose the 4-bedroom home. They was actually the same price. Or the 4-bedroom home might have been slightly more expensive. But I remember thinking, I was like, if me and this girl go the distance, because she was a great girl, and I was like, I do not want to have to move. I hate moving. And so I got that crib because of her. Yeah. And, you know, I'm glad that it worked out. But it's just funny how a good woman would just motivate you to say, all right, I got to see better.
Cause you to think more long term.
Absolutely.
Because she was actually the one that recommended I started going to banking because I was applying to every other job. I just wasn't getting traction. Yeah. She was like, she worked in banking. So she was like, well, why you didn't try to bank? I was like, much probably the same thing as the bank ain't gonna hire me and all that. And actually, I was applying to a bank that I charged off a credit card. I paid not a credit card, but a checking account. Yeah. I paid it off, but imagine being in your boss the first week. Oh, they want you to open checking account. They were like, why you ain't got your checking account? I was like, well, it's not that big a deal. I got a bank. No, we gonna open it. They pull your name up. They say, oh, it's charged up, but it's paid. Okay, I'll let you have it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like, the only way I got my Bank of America account back was because I went to work for them.
Look, and it's funny. So let me, can you explain to me what's the job of a personal banker and why our community, especially like the idea of a personal banker, scares us?
Well, it would scare me too because like it is scary because here I am. I went through and I had to train these people, but what I found out, and I can't fix everywhere problem, but I will tell you, 80 to 90% of the person that's sitting across the desk from you is living paycheck to paycheck. Their account was overdrawn at that bank, at the place they work. Yeah. So it's very hard for you. You're needing and you're seeking financial wisdom because you come into the bank. It's much like you go to a doctor's office. Yeah. You expect them to notice if something's off. Yeah. Or, hey, you're going through this. This may be a better opportunity for you for your business, but the skills of the people that are behind the desk in the branches aren't there to where they can recognize that. Much why you have financial coaches, much why you have all these different people talking about personal finance, because if they were that skilled in the bank, we wouldn't have this gap. So for me, I'm very scared for a lot of people going into the banks all the time because I'm like, you could have had the opportunity that was going to push you forward, but the person across the desk who is paid to be able to recognize that hasn't been trained properly to recognize it to help you. Yeah. So you're going there, and as long as you want to cash a check, they got you. Even if you might have a little hole, but when you talk about, oh man, did you know you had this opportunity to build credit? Did you know if you do this, if you build credit, keep this credit card for 6 months, hey, we could probably walk you down and get you a personal line? Understanding how you can bank and you can strengthen your banking relationship, because right now I know people are seeing, oh, my credit line got slashed because banks are being conservative. Yeah. Well, they're not being conservative with people they don't think is a huge risk. Facts. If you've always paid them and you don't go ostentatiously above your debt load, you'll keep your stuff. Yeah. And when you've had that long track record, they're like, oh, yeah, even if we wanted to kill somebody, we're not going to kill him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because why Facts. Would we? He's been good to us. Absolutely. Why would we do that? In fact, there are many businesses that, why do they have commercial bankers and all that? Because they can just simply send a text, be like, man, whatever you want, just text me. They out here looking at a business. They not providing no docs. They not doing nothing. They just going to get the business easily. Facts. That's where you want your business to take you, to open up that opportunity that you don't have to go through all this red tape. You like, I want to buy a house. Y'all gonna find a way to help me buy.
Absolutely,
buy this house.
They be ready to do that. All right. So, speaking of buying houses, shout out to the segue. That was a great segue. That was great. I don't want to talk to people. I know y'all out here. Y'all hear me fuss about it all the time, like entrepreneurs buying homes, blah blah blah. Cool, great. I got y'all. What's super important though is there's this thing, and I'm gonna give away a little sauce right now. There's people, entrepreneurs, who are finding out a way not to claim as much income as they can when they taxes. Right? It's tax season, tax time. You already know what time it is. Entrepreneurs are scared right now to like file their taxes, me included.
I would be scared. A lot of tax credits have expired.
Oh, that part too. Look, I don't even claim my kid daycare fees on there, but my wife was just like, yo.
It's a little short.
It's like, this ain't what they told me was gonna happen, right? And so we in that situation at the moment. But it was funny because entrepreneurs are trying to figure out a way to say they made the least amount of money. And, you hoping and praying about audits and everything else that have come down the line, but whatever. And we get to this point of I've had several realtors who I've worked for with photography, or, I've actually sat in on a couple and recorded a couple real estate podcasts. And the number one thing they say is, I hate when entrepreneurs try to go buy something and they have to show for the last 3 years I've made $5, right? Because I've written off the other 60 grand and everything else, right? And she's like, I had one in particular, she was like, look, they don't have money. Right. And then they think, they are ready to show, no, look, I actually made 60 grand last year. I made 70 grand. I made whatever. Maybe it's 40 grand. I made it. And you work hard, you do all this, but then you take and you write off everything but the last $100, whatever. And she said, you can't go get a home with that. You can't get a car with that. You can't go get, we started talking about credit. So I kind of want to have a conversation today about, like, what does building wealth look like, especially for entrepreneurs, because there's going to be that time where you're going to have to say, all right, I'm going to have to start claiming money. I got to start using my money better versus writing it off on every little thing, or positioning myself so I can go get the home I want. I can get the car I want. So what does building wealth for entrepreneurs, really look like?
Well, your question is actually twofold. So
okay.
The building wealth side is more, are you setting up your Roth 401k as an entrepreneur, investing for the long time? But just before even discussing that piece, when you talk about, hey, I got to purchase things to, just function.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, and you one thing that's not in my resume, I'm a decade long in corporate, but I also had the NMLS license, which means I've done mortgages and I'm licensed to do mortgages.
You do everything
in 27 states. Yeah, that test was hard. I was like, I got my MBA. What I'm doing test, but I did it, and it was very lucrative. So one of the things that has been afforded to me is it helped me understand. There's a lot of general just information. So what people typically know, if you're trying to buy house and a car, number one, as an entrepreneur, it's easier for you to get a car. It's just documentation, all that. It's going to be easy. I think they're probably going to ask you for probably some bank statements or something. It's not as document intrusive. They're not asking for more documents. General practice for you to get a personal loan, a line of credit, a mortgage, general practice is I'm going to request the last 2 years bank statements. 2 years tax returns to show you. That's general practice.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about a home, then there's ways to get around that. So that perfectly legal because of how it works. So as a home, first of all, there are many different lenders. You're not going to likely be able to do this at a bank if you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The best thing I can tell anybody to make it easy for yourself is if you know you want to buy a home, the best thing I can tell you is go get you a W-2 job.
Yeah.
And go with a lender. There are many lenders, typically online, and you can go through like a Costco platform or a Zillow platform or anything like that, and they'll link you to several online lenders. But what will happen is they'll use that offer letter as your income to qualify for the home. You can stay at that job a month or whatever and go back to your business. After it closes, it closes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. What happens to your loan is they're going to sell your loan to the bank that you couldn't qualify for. That's typically what happens. So even if you want just for your financial situation, maybe it's the best thing for you to write off everything from a profitability standpoint. But that's one way that I don't hear often told too much, likely because people don't understand that every lender can have different criteria for what they require.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important that there are some lenders that's going to require your um, your taxes no matter what the loan is.
Yeah.
But then there are a lot of other ones that if you ain't trying to use that taxes to qualify, you like, hey, I got me a W-2 job. Oh, okay, W-2 job, and all your bills line up and everything's fine, 45% debt to income, you roll with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you move on. It's only, there's a lot of, and I did those loans because I'm like, oh, I only have to ask for this documentation if we're trying to use the income to support.
Yeah.
So those are things that you need to be aware of. That's why when people say shop your lender, you need to shop one that you could be in the spot to buy the home. It's just where you're trying to go do the business.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it that way. And that's the part that I think people, I like to say they get a little bit emotional because they're like, oh, I want to do my loan here. No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
What matters is you were able to get the loan and you were able to buy the home and you just make your payment. That's all that matters. Who gave it to you? Just like a job offer, I don't care. I can do the job. You pay me 20% more. It don't matter. It don't matter where you get it from.
It was funny getting out of that, right? Like, I was working for Marriott. I was working at the Ritz-Carlton. And, bro, I wasn't making no money. Like, let's just be honest. Like, great job. Great location. I'm in the middle, right across the street from the epicenter. I'm working for the only luxury hotel at that time in Charlotte, meeting everybody, you know what I'm saying, easily saying, hey, I met this person today, and you knew it was true because you know everything, right? Was getting hotel discounts in anywhere in the world. It was great. It was a beautiful job, right? Was making nothing. I remember one time I went to my to the GM and I asked bro, I was telling him, I was like, hey, you know, I think my work hasn't increased. I'm looking for a raise, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I said, I just bought a home. And he looked at me in my face and said, you can't ask your parents for help to pay your mortgage. And I looked at him, and it was so crazy because my actual boss was in there, and she looked at him. Both of these two individuals were older white people, but my boss looked at him and was like, no, you did not just say this to this man. Like, because she knew I was young. You know, I was young. I was the only black male in the office. And he looking at me like, yo, your parents can't help you? And I was just like, no. Like, they got a mortgage of their own, right? But it was funny because right after that, I go work for a smoke shop. I'm just being transparent. I don't care. You do whatever you want to do. I don't smoke. But I go work for a smoke shop, right? And I'm working with people who have not, some didn't graduate high school, some get high before they come to work, they leave work high, blah, 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 right? And I remember people like, why you go work there? I'm like, oh, they're paying me $20 grand more. Mm-hmm. And I had to get out of the labels. Yeah. The thing. So it's funny, that's a long story to go along with your point of like, yo, it don't matter who you give it a loan to. Because when I got my home, I was banking with Bank of America, right? And then I remember talking to my realtor. She was like, oh, we're not going with them. I was like, huh? She was like, nah. She was like, don't get settled on you got to go do a mortgage with them.
That's where the bank would want you to be. They want you to think of them first, but as somebody that, I mean, what you're talking about is the value. And it's the same thing. You could apply this same concept to dating. You could apply the same concept to a job, to raising kids, whatever the case may be. The fact is, if you're trying to get a result, does it matter how you got to the result or that you got the result? So the best example, I had this conversation early on in my marriage with my wife. She wanted to buy a new car. Obviously, we paid cash, and I was introducing that concept to her, like, hey, we're going to pay this thing off in cash. She's like, nah. I was like, if you want me to participate, we going to pay it off in cash. And she was like, I don't know. And so it came down to literally me telling her, I'm like, if you want the car and you want me to participate, does it matter how we pay for the car? And a lot of things have to be there. There are jobs I wanted. I couldn't get them at the place that I thought I could. I got it, but I got the job somewhere else. Yeah. Still valuable. That's just how it goes. There are homes we set out to buy. We didn't get that home. We ended up getting something better or bigger or larger than we thought. And for less money. Is that what difference do it make?
Absolutely.
And so a lot of people, I want to do it with the dealership. Well, the dealership ain't trying to do business with you. I want to do it with Bank of America. Well, they're not trying to do business with you because they have their criteria they're doing it.
Facts.
But money is money. That's the funny part about it. It's going to show up on your credit report the same, whether you have Bank of America or whether you have Joe Blow's credit union.
Absolutely.
If they're accredited by the FDIC insured, if they're a legitimate financial institution, it does not matter. All that matters is, hey, you got this loan, you paid on time, and then once that shows up on your credit, then all them people that was telling you no, 6-7 months down the road, now I want to try to do that business with. If you want to do that, but then you're looking at, are you giving me better terms than I have, or what's the case? So it's a big thing that people need to really understand, that you're trying to build a partnership. You're trying to build your own financial network. I know the big tagline is become your own bank. That circulated, and that's nice. And people are typically talking about life insurance when they're doing it. But I felt that way too. I'm like, I want to be able to purchase, and I want to have many different options to purchase. Meaning, if I'm gonna go buy a home, I can buy the home. I can get financed anywhere because my credit and my history and all my savings, it's legitimate.
Yeah.
I can say, oh, I want to pay this amount, or I can say, you know what, when I'm talking over the deal, I'm like, I want to put more down. I want that option for myself. I don't want I can only put 5% down, and I'm just barely getting in the house. And then when you get in the house, you're like, well, I got to decorate this thing, or I got to sit on something while I'm here. So
that is what they don't tell you when you buy a crib.
It's an expensive. It's an expensive purchase, but as an entrepreneur, it's really important that you understand where you can actually do business that's going to help you get forward instead of going to the dead end. And that's where, at least for me, and what I'm trying to build is understand that, hey, I know you might have had some bad experiences with banks, but I want to offer you just some wisdom of this is how you can assess where you can do the business.
Facts.
We were talking earlier about, hey, no one's shocked that the economy is going through some changes right now.
Yeah.
But when the economy goes through some changes, your large banks, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to begin to squeeze back, meaning they're not going to be as liberal. They're not going to be as open to letting you borrow. Even credit unions.
Yeah.
In some pockets, they're not. If you were able to walk in with a 400 or 500 credit score, because I've definitely done it at a credit union, they would do it. They're probably not going to do that right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until the economy gets a little bit better. So you're not what they're looking for. But if you got like a 650, that's like gold. 650 to 680 at a credit union, you're treated like you got an 850.
Yeah.
You can pretty much get, for the most part, you can get a lot of what you want. And I'm talking about personal loans. I'm talking about personal line of credit that is not attached to some sort of asset.
Mm-hmm.
That you wouldn't even get that opportunity at a large financial, a Chase, a Bank of America. You're not going to get that opportunity, even in good times.
Yeah.
So the point is, if you need that type of access and you don't have a home, and you're like, oh, I need the ability to just have some credit, that because you're an entrepreneur, your cash flow, the timing's a little different. You'll get it paid, but you need something that sometimes buffer you as you're starting to strengthen out your situation. That's where you need to partner with a credit union that's going to help you. And what do credit unions value? All banks value direct deposits, but credit unions extremely value that. The reason why is because people typically only come there for loans. But if you can offer them not even your full check, just a piece of a check, it does wonders for what they will want to give you. You know what I mean? If you have an emergency fund, you don't have to have it at CD. Use their money market. Those things strengthen. You're talking about what do you have that can take you further.
Absolutely.
You know, in there that you could do those same things again at Bank of America, Wells, Chase, Capital. You could do it all there, but they're not going to give you as much opportunity. And it's not going to yield you that opportunity, because that's what entrepreneurship is. You want the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Like, I know I'm gonna pay it, but it's hard for you to get the experience of paying it so that you can do other stuff. If don't nobody want to give you the opportunity.
So let's do this. Give me some tips. Give me, if you could think of 3 tips, ways that entrepreneurs can build wealth within their lives, their family lives, things of that nature.
From an entrepreneurship standpoint, everybody should be investing in the stock market using either the solo 401k, the SEP IRA. You need to be the Roth IRA. You need to be using the Roth version of all those if you can, but if you at least got the IRA open, you know what I mean, and then investing in the stock market, that's going to help not only build wealth for your family, but it's also going to help strengthen your business. On, so from financial sense, it's like you're gonna no longer be sitting in sand. You're gonna be standing on solid foundation.
Okay.
Because those investments, just for quick math, when you have a checking account at the bank, that earns the bank about 1 to 2 times profit. When you have credit at a bank, that's 6 times profit that the bank would earn.
Okay.
So when you have investments at a bank, that's 9 times profit. Everybody doesn't have investments, but that's why the people who do have investments, they'll let them do a whole lot more because because once you know how they're making money, that's where they want to keep you happy. They want you to keep investing. So that investing is going to be investing in the stock market. Don't make it difficult. Use index funds. They track the market. That's something that you don't have to pay attention to. You just put in your money every month or every couple of weeks or however you pay, however you decide, and run that down. The second thing is if you're a business, you do want to clean up and begin to strengthen your business from a credit sense, meaning you're gonna have to do things. You're a photographer, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that if your business grows to a point, you may want to buy a commercial business. Money can get you a lot of places, but unless you got 400 or 500 sitting there that you're ready to put in there, and even if you do have the 400 or 500, you may not want to put it in the building.
Look, not all of it. If anything,
I can put something on it. You know what I mean? I want this thing to cash.
He said I can put something on it.
I let this thing cash flow a little bit and then get back. So how do you get there? Everybody has to start somewhere. Sometimes maybe you're that person that you have to do a secure card. Cool. But you need to sit down, and the real conversation you're having with, I suggest you go to a credit union, and I suggest you have this conversation with somebody at the credit union, because typically that person who is at the credit union, I don't like a lot of them as personal bankers. They all got the same skill set.
Yeah.
But how that personal banker writes up your loan application matters.
Absolutely.
To what because they have a taste and they understand that the underwriting, and they understand what the underwriter is looking for. And they also understand that you could begin to ask them, this is your first credit card. And you could simply tell them, like, look, I'm really trying to develop my relationship to where I could get access to a personal line, $1,500, $2,000. What do I need to do to get there? They will tell you, all right,
facts.
Do this, keep this. And if you do that and come back at this point,
we can talk.
And they can ask the underwriter directly. As long as that person's employed, you know what I mean? That at least gets you a lot further than you throwing darts at a board.
Absolutely.
So that's 2. I would, so stock market is 1. You really need to sit down, and all these things I'm telling you, this is the way you need to be speaking to them in order to get the information to build your credit on the second thing. And then the third thing is, man, you do need to be about your taxes. You need to find, and again, you guys met me, if you follow me, great, I appreciate it, but even if you don't watch it, I will help you find a CPA that will help you understand and work with you to strengthen your tax situation. It's not always about writing everything off. You're talking about advantage. If you're every entrepreneur, let's see, average entrepreneur makes about $72,000 average. You know what I mean? That means some lower, some higher.
Yeah.
86% of entrepreneurs make under $100,000. If you're making over $40,000 as an entrepreneur in a business, this is well documented. You probably need to be in a LLC S corp. The reason for that is because once you file in that purpose and that stating, and this is all stuff that, again, go to a CPA. I'm not a CPA.
Yep.
I just understand a lot of the rules.
He's smart.
But you get to, it opens up a lot more valuable deductions that you can take advantage of at that level. Yes. And also, you need to be on payroll. Well, Jonathan, payroll costs. There's a lot of banks, probably even credit unions, that at least for you, if you're the only one that you want to pay in your business, they will set you up on payroll. That's organization. That's something you don't have to think about. It takes taxes out. But for the first person, typically for most payroll companies, first person is usually free. And it'll give you a W-2, just like your regular job. So when you talk about you're trying to go apply, you just go on the little app and ADP or whoever, PayPal or whoever you using for that service, they'll pull your little W-2, you hand it to the bank. But you're presenting a more organized structure to the bank about business. And what does organization do? It decreases the risk that somebody's saying. So kind of like you mentioned earlier, this is probably we've only interacted a few times, but you could tell by how I spoke via the DM. And we didn't speak long, but you had the impression like he's gonna be on time.
Absolutely,
he's gonna be ready to
picked
roll.
Up on it quick.
You know what I mean? So that's what banks do. They're assessing. You can tell them whatever you want, but if they're looking at you and they put what they see in front of them, plus your credit report, equals, do I really want to take the chance and give this person some money?
Yeah, I need. I definitely need your CPA plug. No facts. No, seriously. Because you know what's funny is it's funny because once I was running my business a certain way, and it was easier when it was just me, right? Then you know, you young, you start off. Only thing you know is like, oh, let me go get my sole proprietorship, right? Cool, bet. And then you hear LLC, so you just go file that, right? And then you realize like, oh shoot, I kind of want to do this seriously. I need to get right with everything, right? So you go do that, and then it gets to you get married, and you really get scared because you like, oh shoot, I have somebody I'm responsible for. You know, as a man, this person who I'm with, this is my responsibility. Then a kid comes, and you lose it all. Like you scared because now, no matter what happens to me, my wife has to be accountable and responsible, right? But now I have a child who's, you know, not even 2 yet. He doesn't know. He look at today, he just said mama to me, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'm not your mama. And then he was like, where's mama? And then I was like, all right, cool. Now I get what you're doing. You forgot the where part.
Or at least the voice inflection. Give me something.
Give me something. And then, but you know, it's funny, like, so yes, I need that. Let me ask you this. How did your mindset on money change once you had a child and with your wife? How was that for you?
I mean, to be honest, we've been in a blessed situation. So to your point about the responsibility, my responsibility when I look at it, I'm like, I have to. There is no I'm going to try, or I have to provide a good, comfortable situation for my wife and daughter. I have to. I know too much, and even if I didn't know anything, I know I have the ability to work. I need to turn over every rock. I need to turn over every stone. I need to go talk to every stranger until I get the answers that's going to push me ahead to make my wife situation and my daughter's situation comfortable. So the reason why I bring that up is my father passed way when I was like 3, you know what I mean? So I didn't really get to fully develop and understand that relationship. It's only as I got older, went through counseling, and started to understand where my behaviors line up to what I understand his behaviors were. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm your son. Okay, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We all fall short, but there were things that even though people didn't necessarily, he could sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Okay.
But the thing that everybody, no matter whether he rubbed them the wrong way or not, they all said he was very intelligent. He was an entrepreneur. He knew stuff. My mom, he was intelligent. I'm like, okay, so I have that ability to do that.
Bring that closer to you.
I have that ability to do that even in my life. So when you talk about, my wife is Nigerian. I spoke to her, or I attempted to speak to her father and ask, and he was like, "Why you calling me?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, I tried." You know what I mean? And later on, I thought about it when we were at the ceremony. I'm like, he entrusted me his daughter.
Facts.
He entrusted me his granddaughter by default because I married his daughter. I, as a man, told this man, look, I'm going to take care of your daughter at or better than what you have done. And I would only expect that a man, if he's going to ask my daughter at some point to marry him, he would come with that same mindset of the effort you're willing to put in to, I would want him to give that same thing, because that's what I offered. And that's what I'm looking for. You don't have to have money, but to your point about what changed with the daughter was, when my daughter was born, I was extremely excited because I realized we had made a lot of the right decisions. We followed, in a sense, we followed a lot of rules. And to be honest, if you follow the rules financially, it works out. It does work out.
Yeah.
If you shortcut it, you're going to have some gaps. You know what I mean? If you don't do things how people are suggesting and what they're saying, when you're following the rules, you're basically saying, I'm doing everything that the government wants me to do as an entrepreneur, as a person. So, because if I do these things, the economy will grow. The economy will benefit. And if the economy's growing, then obviously the government can grow. We all make more money. So with my daughter being born, 2 months, or what did it take, 2 months to get the social or whatever?
Yeah.
Immediately, I moved $8,000 investments under her name. And so when people talk about how do you change, how do you change the legacy? How do you build out the generational wealth? And what does that look like? It looks like my daughter came into the world and I gave her, at the time, that's what I could give her, $8,000, but that $8,000, she's above most grown folks.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? She has more money, more access, and she will have more. That $8,000 by the time she's 18, that $8,000, $9,000 when she's 21, be $200,000.
Yeah.
And we'll have properties paid off, and we'll probably have more properties, and we'll have other things. So we're putting things in place so that it's not to make life easier. It's she won't be burdened by the hurdles that we had to work through. And that's what wealth does. It's not to give you a free pass. She's still going to have work and responsibility because she's going to have to know, well, if he hands me $10 million, how do I make this 10, 50? Or how do, you know what I mean? Or if I don't want to do that, then okay, that's cool. The trust will do, you know what I'm saying, some other thing. So that's the thing with kids is money has allowed me to, like I say, I at the time, I'm with my daughter. We kept her home for the last 2 years. My wife, we made the decision to put her in the child care. But it's the fact that me and my wife drop my daughter off every morning. We pick her up.
Bro, how fun is that?
It's strangely weird because, we're doing it for the same reason, because who amongst us haven't been that kid that was left and you the last person getting picked up? You're like, man, this sucks.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It just sucks. And I'm like, it's things like that. My daughter doesn't know, you know what I'm saying, what that is. Yeah. But it's the point that I'm there with her.
Bro, I get so much joy out of dropping my kid off and being able to go pick him up.
Because they looking for you.
Dog, probably like a month ago. So my son is 18 months now, and at 6 months he started going to daycare, right? And the lady, I came in, I probably was like, we got to get him by 4, right? So I'm there at 3:55, and she's laughing, mind you, because he's so young. You know, like at certain times that you have to pick the kid up, right?
Yeah.
And so she was like, he was crying. I'm like, what's wrong? She was like, yo, he know what time you supposed to be here.
Yeah,
so,
don't be late.
So,
like she was looking at me strange. I came at 5 one day because I can go up to 6, but I don't want her to be there because I do miss. I'm used to being with her daily ever since she was there. So it's a different thing when you not somebody sent you a video
Yeah.
Not somebody sent you pictures, but I saw my daughter turn. I saw her every milestone that a person would want to be with their child. Not only was I there, my wife was there.
Facts.
And usually the normal circumstance is one or both have missed it. And while you like the video and you think it's the same, it's not the same.
It's not
as
the
when you
same,
see
dog.
it in person. That's in my mind, it's in stone.
Bro.
It's in stone. So that's the legacy thing. But no,
Absolutely.
they're fun. You know what I mean?
It is. Let me ask you this before we close out. I got two things.
Yeah.
And I want to stay on you being a family right quick. What's your favorite part about being a dad? These are all things I did not tell him we was going to talk about. But,
the surprise. No, like one thing I realized is we underestimate the ability for a kid intelligence. We very underestimate. The reason why I say that is because we don't curse in the house. Just because I think cursing is
I'm with you.
It's pointless. You know,
Yeah.
you can't find no other word to express, what it is. But okay, if that's you, cool. But we don't curse in the house. But one of the things that, a kid will do, if they see you messing with something, that's what they're going to mess with. So we moved into the house. She constantly saw us either messing with the laptop. So because we work from home, that's what she messed with. The TV, the remote, she figured out how to put on Miss Rachel. Thank goodness for Miss Rachel.
Shout out. If you know, you know.
Yeah, that lady is all she can't do no wrong for me. But she knows how to turn it on. She knows how to skip ads. Her first words, you would think it would be eat, mom, dad, or whatever. It's from me constantly taking that remote, or instead of telling her no, we constantly told her thank you. So her first, whenever she gives something, when she was giving stuff to people, it was catching them off guard because she would say thank you. That was her first word. And so she sees that as soon as we change her diaper, we throw it away. Now she wants to throw it away.
Bro.
She saw me cleaning up the house. Now she thinks grabbing the dustpan and broom, that's what you're supposed to do. So I say all that to say we underestimate the children's ability and their capacity to learn. And truth be told, who your kid, if you see a habit that if you see something that your kid does that you don't necessarily like, and you're like, man, that's a bad habit, where did you think they got that from? They're by default a reflection of your bad habits that you're not addressing. And I'm not perfect, but I realize that I'm like, they truly are a sponge, and you can set them up. Like she already want to clean. Like people have to really coerce and bribe their kids to try to clean. But she's already going in with the mindset of, okay, I finished with this, throw it in the trash. These are things that you want to set them up with good habits. But yeah, we just underestimate the ability of our kids to learn. And if we just pour into it as much as possible, not go sign them up for 14 different sports, but just try to do things, expose them to different things, and allow their intelligence to develop naturally.
Absolutely.
But they will, if you're doing healthy habits, they're going to do healthy habits.
Bro, it's funny because my mother-in-law dances all the time. So my wife is Puerto Rican, so of course the music's fast. Everybody's dancing. My son loves to dance, right? He's like you now, like, there's no more changing his diaper and we setting it to the side. We change his diaper, we hand it to him. Why? Because he loves running to the garbage can.
And get mad if you don't give it. Yeah, bro, it's a problem.
It's a problem. It's funny now. I was trying to feed him something, and he turning his head, and he's like, no. I sit his fork down. He likes grabbing now he's getting to that independence part, right? But it's always thank you. It's always let me give you a hug. It's always a high five. It's, I blame my sister-in-law. He loves to cheers now when he's drinking out of his cup, right? Because he sees she have a glass of wine and she's cheers. So he thinks it's fun. So I love that answer. All right, before we get out of here.
The last thing on that I will say, because I'm a little bit more of a hard person from the emotional side.
Yeah.
And having a kid, the one thing that kids can do that adults can't, and I love my wife, but the thing about a kid is they love you just no fault. Like, there's no defense mechanism. There's nothing you're trying to work with. They love you the most pure as you can get it. And so there are many times where you would be surprised that you're not questioning your kid. You're not even questioning your wife or anything, but you know, in order to get to that stage with your wife, you had to go through her past. Well, the kid is a blank slate. They're just giving you love. They're just running up when they see you. They face light up. When they running up, they give you hugs. They give you kisses.
Absolutely.
Those type of things teach you how to love purely. And you realize, for me, I realized, dang, this world really messed me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know it's going to come a time they get their own experience, but the more I can keep it as pure as possible, the longer I can do it, I think gives her a better chance of developing healthy relationships.
Absolutely. I love that answer. Definitely chopping that up. That's what my love notes over here for. I'm over here taking notes, like chopping that up. Before we get out of here, I need how people can reach you. So socials, anything like that, because I know a lot of people. We gave a lot of good gems here, a lot of great advice. A lot of things that I love to say. I love when people come on and they sharing information that I've not had before. You're the first person to come over here and talk about finance, which I love and I'm grateful for. It got me thinking. Literally, that's why I'm like, yo, I'm gonna need a CPA person who can help out.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Two, I definitely need you to come back.
Absolutely.
And I think it'd be something cool, whether it's like every quarter or something like that.
Yeah.
So please tell people where they can find you, they can follow you. If you got any events coming up, and then afterwards, if you could share one last thing that you would love for our listeners just to take home, I'd be super grateful for that.
So first, thank you for just allowing me to come on. I mean, you reach out to people through the internet. You know how it is. It's a scam. You don't know what you get. So if you found some value, I will say on the podcast platform, please share it with a friend. Please like, subscribe. They're doing great work, and you never know how you're able to utilize some information. So if you're listening out there, please like, share, subscribe. The best way, I mean, you can really reach me on all handles, but the best way is jthomassolutions@outlook.com is my email. I'm on Instagram, jthomassolutions. TikTok is running up like a banshee, jthomassolutions on TikTok.
Let's do it.
I have a Money Talks group that's free. I have two, actually, but there is a free one, Money Talks, on Facebook, on YouTube, Money Talks with Jonathan Thomas. And the whole goal of this is to help set you up with the framework so that you can continue to focus on your business. You know what I mean? Focus on growing your business. That's what I did. When I was trying to build my investments, I just wanted the framework. I'm like, let me focus all my energy on running up the cash and getting the cash. Just give me the framework of investment, and it works. It does work. You will be surprised at opportunities it happen. So those are the ways you can reach me. And if you're on Instagram and you're not following him, please follow him. And you'll be blessed in that process. What I would tell people is there's a funny thing about money that people often misinterpret. It's money doesn't buy everything, but it can make things a whole lot better. And the reason why I say that is there are going to be ebbs and flows in your business. You're going to have families with illnesses, like you're married. So we thought the biggest problems would be, oh man, how do I keep the mortgage on? But now when you start having parents go in the hospital, and now when you got friends having cancer, and now when you got all these other things tugging at you, those are the things that money just puts distance between the unnecessary pieces to allow you the space that you can work through the real problem. And like we said before, being able to pick up my kid, be with my kid, I have autonomy to what I do, but I did the work, but money allows me to do that because we're in a society where money matters. So yes, do you have to follow some rules? Yeah, we have to follow some rules. Yes, is there some learning? But that's why I'm here. If I can't help you, I will find somebody who has the character, integrity that I trust to help you and get you at least to that next stage. Because as you grow, what opportunities you need will grow. You're never going to keep the same things. You're going to. It's kind of like it's nice if you drive the Sonata that you might have drove 12 years ago. I'm driving a 12-year-old car, but likely when I'm ready to upgrade or when I have to buy a new car, I'm probably gonna buy a better car than I had before.
Man, I hated having to get a new car.
Yeah, but it's still paid off. It's just one of them things where you constantly are going to have to grow, and that's what money does. And you have to realize that, hey, I'm good at the business, but I need somebody who's good with money that's gonna help my business become easier. Like hire that help, hire that stuff. You can do that when you have money, and if they're doing all the stuff that you don't like to do, that's how it works. But yeah, that's what I would tell you. Money makes things a lot easier.
Yo, I want to thank you. I appreciate you. I know this ran over than what I told you the time it would be, but I really do appreciate you. The fact that you reached out, the fact that you followed up, the fact that, y'all, I canceled like 2 hours before we were supposed to record yesterday just because my schedule was booked and syncing stuff. And I hate to do that, especially with somebody, because I understand that your time is valuable.
Absolutely.
And I really do appreciate you. And I was so happy to see that you were able to say, nah, bro, we good for tomorrow. And because you was able to share this with us, I would definitely need you back on. I definitely got some events, which is funny. My dad was just talking about, so my dad does this thing every quarter where he gets his homeboys together who are older, and I get my friends together. And we probably gonna need your fees because we're gonna need you to come speak. Because he was telling them, he was like, I need to find someone to come talk to us about investing, wheels, and just kind of putting our money right, because his friends, you know, my dad's in his late 50s and his homeboys are a little bit older, you know, whatever. And I definitely we definitely could talk about that offline, but I'm glad, because we need people that look like us that are willing to share this information or point us in the right direction. And we got to start understanding that, yo, these people expertise is not free. You know what I'm saying? Like I need everybody to understand that, because your time is money.
Yeah. I mean, I like
literally.
I like my role. I like what I like being in the money space, because to me, the information you can get in money can literally make you multimillionaire. And you may say, oh yeah, I paid to do $400 or whatever. But like when I was coaching people one-on-one, and I would do that from time to time, just depending on what it is. But when I was coaching one-on-one, they were like, oh man, I'm paying you $25. I'm like, yeah, but number one, you got savings now that you didn't have before. Yeah. Number two, you got $600-700 extra in the month that you didn't have before. Yeah. So was it worth paying me $25 a month? Yeah. To get $3,600 a year. You know, you paid $250 to get $3,600.
Yeah.
What
are we talking about?
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's fine. It's just I want you to understand how that math works. You know what I mean? For me, investing, hey, you may pay me one time $100 or whatever the case may be to set you up on investing. But when your investments start to total $1 million, all because you listen, and it's in a Roth and it's tax free, was it worth that $100? Even if it's not $1 million, maybe it's a couple $100,000. Was it still worth $100? You know what I mean? And that's what tax is. When you have good tax advice, is it worth it? Yeah, I might pay $2-3 grand, but if I'm not paying $30,000 in taxes legitimately, and my business is actually scaling up, that's worth it.
Absolutely.
It's math. It's simple math.
Simple math. Simple math. Look, we appreciate you. Look, if y'all got any questions, concerns, his information is below. It's in the description. Please hit him up. Please do not contact me asking me for no financial advice, because I'm going to send you his information directly. And with that, we're going to holler at y'all next time.
I appreciate it.